What is up, YouTube? This is Alex Rose, and today we are going through the next topic in the series for Hercules DJ's new Inpulse 300 series. And in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to make your very own mixes. Now, believe it or not, making a mix is actually less complicated than you think. So in this video, I will be taking you step by step of how to set it up in Dejuiced, how to make sure that everything is connected properly, how to actually begin the recording, locate it, put it into FL Studio, apply your master or whatever you need to do to it, and then upload. So that's coming up right after the intro. So to start off, we're just going to make sure that all the cables are connected properly. Quick note on this guy, so it's just powered by USB. There's no need for DC power directly to fully power it like with some other controllers. And then also it only has RCA export for the master out, so that's another important thing. I use mostly 1/4 inch, so I did have to get an adapter in order to connect it properly to go from this RCA signal. Actually, I had to go to 1/8 inch and then to a 1/4 inch adapter to go into my audio interface. So that's the first thing. Just make sure that your cables are right. The controller is limited in terms of the amount of different outputs it has. So keep that in mind if you do order an Inpulse 300. Make sure that you got your cable stuff all figured out. The other thing you need to consider, like I'm pointing out right now, is that the RCA is a stereo output. So there I was just showing that after going into my audio interface, it does split back into stereo going to the two monitors, but it's still a mono signal. So keep that in mind for when we're setting up within the program. As you see, I have my USB plugged in, and then I'm just checking to make sure the setup's all good. So here you can check your monitors and your headphones as well. Like I said before, because I am running a mono signal, it will sound weird when it first goes through my monitors, because it will be interpreting that RCA signal and that it's supposed to be stereo, and there will be wave cancellation. So if you're in a similar situation as me, it should sound weird. No worries, just adjust the levels as you need them between your audio interface and your speakers themselves, and we'll fix it in settings in just a tiny bit, so it's no big worry for now. And final step, let's just make sure that our headphones are plugged in. The Inpulse 300 only has a 1/8 inch or 3.5 millimeter jack, so there's no need for a converter to 1/4 inch on this guy. Fantastic. So now that we're in the Dejuiced software, we're just going to go up to settings in the top right and make sure everything looks good. We're now going to switch the output to mono, as I said before, as we are running into a mono audio interface signal. Everything should be outputted as mono so that there's not that wave cancellation problem that we were hearing earlier. Now you can do lots of different things here in the settings. We're not going to touch much. We're just going to make sure that it's recording to where we want it to record to, and that the compression quality is set to at least 192. You can set it higher if you would like. Again, more options here that we could look at, but we're not really going to focus on for now. Some things like jog, pitch, bend sensitivity, and whatnot, I usually do like to change, but do them as you would want to. One that I like to focus on especially is the tempo range. It's already set to how I prefer it. I tend to prefer everything to be from 80 to about 160 in terms of tempo. And you can also change things like the fader and go to about to see any updates. So after making sure my tempos are aligned, I click the rec button, and then we'll just hit record to begin recording, and then we can start mixing per usual. And when we're finished, all you have to do is click the record button again to end, and it will automatically save into that folder location. So from here, we're just gonna port it into FL Studio. Make sure we assign to a mixer track in case we want to add a voiceover, which I would recommend to avoid people stealing your mixes, which has happened to me. Just put in kind of like a little producer tag or whatever, DJ tag. Then apply your master chain. So I have one preset already from other times that I've made songs and whatnot. And after that, you can export it as usual. Following that, I'd recommend that you upload to Mixcloud. It's a great service, but you can also add it into a YouTube video. Just make sure that you're up to date on what has and doesn't have copyright. So that wraps up today's video. It was nice and short, and I hope that you learned something. As you can see, it's not actually that hard to record a mix, especially in DJuiced. It's pretty simple, as long as you make sure everything is set up for the way that you DJ and how your setup is in your home. That mono thing really tripped me up at first, so I'd really make sure that your cables are right and you check that first. As well, always make sure that you apply at least some mastering to your mixes before uploading. Make sure you're not too harsh with it and you don't distort anything, but it's a good way of kind of gluing the entire mix together before it goes up. Now, in the next and final video in this series, I'm going to show you what I'm thinking about while I'm DJing, and it's going to go a little bit more in my mind how I'm using the features on this particular controller, but also how I think in general when I am mixing. So you'll get to learn about the beat align function, about the energy browsing settings, about the tempo assist that I'll be using live in the next video. And you can see them in action and how they actually train you to become a better DJ. So stick around, stay tuned for that next video coming out very shortly. And this has been Alex Rose. As always, make sure that you subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, that you follow me on Instagram to get a preview of them before they're out. And as always, happy dancing.